Despite Ms. Ford never communicating it to any party.
Okay, and I just want to be clear, this is July 1st of 2021 that you're making this note, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, let's look at the complaint if we can. Do you know when Dr. Ford filed her ERD complaint?
To the state.
Yes. Not ERAD, but ERD.
Sometime in 2022.
Okay. Well, what do you think it means that it says that Dr. Ford is represented here?
Objection, vague as to the question.
My interpretation, and I believe what I captured, was that Ms. Ford knew either through an explicit statement by Ms. Saffold or otherwise that she had an awareness that Ms. Ford had either engaged or sought legal representation.
Okay. And did that, let me put it that way, based on your notes and understanding here, was the knowledge by Dr. Saffold that Dr. Ford had obtained legal representation, did that lead to Dr. Saffold, or I'd say what effect did that have on Dr. Saffold, if you know?
Object to the form of the questions. Broad and vague also lacks foundation, calls for speculation.
What I recall is that Ms. Ford had shared this in the context of additional scrutiny by Ms. Saffold because of her seeking or obtaining legal representation.
Okay, so it's fair to say that her work conditions were affected by Dr. Saffold's knowledge that Dr. Ford had obtained legal representation.
Object to the form of questions. Broad and vague, calls for speculation. It's also compound.
Join.
That is what my intent to capture here was.
Okay. And you know that for sure, or you speculate?
Know what for sure? That's vague.
Okay.
And argumentative.
Yes, join.
That's my recollection.
Great. If you could turn to the next page, please. Okay, there's a redacted section on the top of that page.
Yes.
See that? What's underneath that redacted section?
I don't recall.
Okay, and again, that's the document that you looked at 30 days ago?
Yes.
Okay. So then going after that, it says T. Folleron, and I suppose that's her phone number, and it says 11:51 a.m.
11:57.
Fine. Do you know what date this took place?
I don't recall that.
Okay. Is that information blacked out here?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, but normally you put on a date or something else?
Yeah, normally I put on a date.
So there would be additional pages to this document that would indicate what date this took place, right?
Objection, lack foundation.
I'm sure a date could be deciphered.
Okay, can you answer my question though?
Can you restate the question?
Sure. Is there another page to this document that has the date on it?
That would inform when this took place, yes.
Okay, but you didn't provide that.
Evidently not.
I'm confused by the answer. You're asking him if in fact this is not a complete document and that a page was pulled. I don't think that's what that Mr. Chasen understood.
Okay.
That's.
I mean, do you understand this to be the complete document that you provided?
This is the complete document that I provided to my attorney.
Okay, and no page was pulled, correct?
Correct.
Okay. He kind of inferred that.
Well, thank you for that testimony,
You bet.
Mr. Reardon. Okay, so, I guess I'm not clear if we had an answer to the last question. If you can assist me with that, I'd appreciate it, other than Mr. Reardon's.
So should I go back a couple?
Please.
Is there another page to this document that has a date on it? Answer, that would inform when this took place, yes. Question, okay, but you didn't provide that. Answer, evidently not.
Okay. Now, if we can go to that line, after we have her telephone number and the 1157, what can you please decipher the next 4 lines?
At what point do things change?
Okay?
When will new manager start? Review previous concerns and repackage into this process. Budget update.
Okay, and we've spoken before, I've examined you as a witness before, right?
Yes,
Okay, and in fact, that happened during the Garcia-Hoven hearing, is that right?
yes,
Okay, and at that time, you testified that you frequently take employees' information for, quote, informational purposes only, is that right?
if that is the ask of the individual sharing the information.
Okay, but we also established that sometimes you do that in your sole discretion, right?
The formal question, I think it's broad and vague. Also, I think it misstates his testimony in the Garcia-Hoven hearing.
Based on the interaction with the individual, yes.
Only based on the interaction or for other reasons as well?
Based on the interaction with the individual only.
Okay. So, at this point, are you taking Dr. Teresa Falleraun's information down for informational purposes only or for some other reason?
Yeah, I think I'm just capturing the phone call that I had with her.
Okay. Now, did you take Dr. Ford's information down for informational purposes only?
Yes, I captured our meeting notes and our phone conversations.
Okay. Can you show me where in this notes it says that she has agreed for you to take down her information for informational purposes only?
I cannot.
Okay. Did you ever note that?
Not here.
Okay. Did you note it somewhere else?
I don't believe so.
No. Okay. So, because that's because in fact it was your standard operating procedure and not Dr. Ford's request that informed your decision to take this information down for informational purposes only, right?
Are we talking about Miss?
Argumentative.
Are we talking about Miss Falleraun's?
No, we're talking about Dr. Ford.
So, yes, within the context of the complaint having already been submitted and followed by HR, I deferred to their office to complete the investigation.
Right, and you never told Dr. Ford that you were just taking her information down for informational purposes, correct?
I thought that what our conversation was is that we would offer up support to help navigate the HR process.
Okay, so that doesn't say that you were taking her information for informational purposes only. I understood that to mean you're taking her information for the purpose of supporting her through the HR process. Did I understand that right?
Objection. You are testifying.
I believe you understood that right.
Great. Okay, and did you ever, to be clear, explain that to Dr. Ford?
I'm going to object. I think this has been asked and answered at least 3 or 4 times.
That too.
Okay, and I think what I need to understand here in that is, because I think there's 2 statements that you made, and one is for taking down information for taking down complaints for informational purposes only, and taking down complaints for the purpose of assisting through the HR process. Did I understand those distinctions right?
Yeah, based on the conversation that I have with the individual sharing information.
Okay, and that's not captured anywhere in these notes, correct?
Not here, it is not.
Okay, and is it captured anywhere else?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Did that actually happen?
Did what actually happen?
Did you actually have that conversation with Dr. Ford?
I thought that I did.
Okay. So, you get several voicemails later that day. There's actually, on this day here, between Teresa Fallaround and Angela Ford, there's quite a bit of calls, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So let's go to the last section here. She actually, or you actually reach each other here. And she says bullying and harassing, and then what?
Form gone from website.
Okay, what does that mean to you?
Ms. Ford had shared that she could not find on the either district portal or on the employee internal website, MConnect, that she could find the bullying harassing form.
Great. What steps, if any, did you take to assist Dr. Ford with that HR issue?
I don't recall taking any steps assisting with that.
Okay, but she's clearly asking you for, telling you that there is a form that she is not able to get, correct?
That is correct.
And that form would be related to HR or something else?
I believe in this instance it's the HR form.
Okay, so if you didn't assist her with this obtaining this HR form, are you able to tell us what assistance you did give her for, with the HR process?
Basically to capture her concerns contemporaneously so that they could be provided if needed at a future date.
That doesn't sound like assisting her with HR process. That sounds like taking down information for information purposes, correct?
Object argumentative.
Yeah, joined. I'm going to ask that you go ahead.
Was that a question?
Not really.
Okay. Well, let's repeat the question then.
So if you didn't assist her with obtaining this HR form, are you able to tell us what assistance you did give her? Oh, that's not the last question. Yeah, the last question is, that doesn't sound like assisting her with HR process. That sounds like taking down information for information purposes, correct?
What's the response to that, if any?
There is no.
No, I'm sorry, I'm asking
Oh.
the witness. If we can go back on the record, excuse me.
Yeah, I disagree with the characterization. Yeah, we captured the complainant's concerns here, so it would be available when and if needed at a future time.
Okay. All right. Are you aware of whether Dr. Ford actually got that bullying and harassment form?
I'm unaware.
Okay. And that's because you didn't take any steps to assist her with obtaining that form, right?
Objection, argumentative.
John?
I don't recall providing that assistance.
Okay. Let's go to the next page. Now, there's a blank, blacked out section there. What is underneath that?
I don't recall.
And that's, you did know what that was 30 days ago, but you don't recall it today, right?
Let me just say that if there's any blank here, it's because of what you should also understand. You've got an email from me about that, is that it relates to something that might be privileged, unrelated, and etc. If you had read your emails from me when I've sent you these documents, you would understand what's under the blanks.
Right. And if you had read my response, you would understand, in the law, you would know that privilege is the only basis upon which you can withhold any documents. So relevance is not a basis to retract any information. You did that, you have not corrected that, and that is part of the problem there. I'm not even
and you
close to
emailed-
being finished here.
Go ahead.
So again, if you're gonna cite to privilege, you need to give a specific reason why it's privileged. You haven't done that. You've just said it's privileged. So on that basis alone, you have not articulated an accurate objection, and I'm also going to, therefore, I'm going to ask him on this because you have not articulated privilege.
Okay, all right. So another thing, remember when you had emailed the judge and also said that we weren't complying with the subpoena, and I told you and et cetera that, hey, if you had a problem with the information that we were providing you, we can go to the judge and ask for a hearing on that, right? And I said at that point in time, you would be wasting everybody's time, including your clients, who you had also CC'd on that email. So hey, if you ever want to do that, we can certainly do that. Now, when it comes to the blanks, I'm pretty sure any testimony that he provides going forward is, I don't know. Hell, I don't know what's underneath the blank right now, okay? So,
So that's a speaking objection. That's outrageous, excuse me here. That's outrageous. You're clearly trying to influence his testimony.
I'm not influencing anything.
Oh, okay, that's your
I'm
opinion.
not influencing anything.
I'm sorry, Chris.
First of all, if you're having problems with documentation and going to the court and talking to the court without me being involved in this matter, that's ex parte communication, and that's inappropriate.
I'll keep that in mind for future reference.
You should keep it in mind because it's unethical. And you seem to have a rolling disregard for rules and ethics guidelines. We found that at least 3 times in this particular instance just here today. Stick to the point, let's get this done, and start providing documents to me like subpoenas.
Okay, so I appreciate those comments.
They're not comments,
Okay.
they're objections.
Many people start objections with saying objection.
I did.
Okay,
Running objections, how about that?
great.
Because a lot of this is ridiculous, as you know.
I'll keep that in mind for future reference.
Okay.
Are we ready to keep going? All right.
Yes.
So, here I see Angela Ford at 3 p.m. You see that?
Yes.
Okay. And then I need your help here. It says form or something along those lines.
Form missing for bullying, harassing.
Okay, I'm sorry. We were distracted there. So, and then the next line is,
Sampled asking for ID badge number.
okay. And then there's other things that Saffold's doing, right? 4 more lines of that?
Yes.
What, can you just be clear on what those are?
Sure. Sampled directing Angela Ford out of office so people can virtual in Angela Ford's office. I'm just going to read them through and then I can offer explanation.
Great.
Sampled refuses to issue back pay. Sampled said Holiday wrote Angela Ford up. So, so people can virtual in AF office. My interpretation was that she just had Saffold, that is, had other people use Angela Ford's office space. Ms. Sampled refuses to issue back pay. I believe this was in reference to a readjustment of a paid or unpaid leave, and then the last sentence simply that if there was some write-up, and I don't remember which write-up this is in reference to, Sampled saying that Holiday is the one who did it.
Okay. And to be clear, Dr. Ford is relaying these accusations against Dr. Saffold on March 10th of 2022. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And she said on, I believe, June 24th that she was going to file a complaint with HR the next day.
Yes,
Okay. Do you know whether she filed that complaint with HR the next day?
I believe she did.
Okay. So it's based on that understanding, it's fair to say that these allegations of Dr. Saffold changing Dr. Ford's working conditions occurred after she made her complaint to HR, right?
Objection argumentative.
John.
Yes.
Okay. And that's because presumably June 26th is after or before March 10th of 2022. Is that how you come to that conclusion?
Yes.
Okay. So then it says, there's some lines A, F, and can you help me with those?
Sure. Angela Ford filed a grievance to overturn Saffold's suspension.
Okay,
Angela Ford told Saffold that Angela Ford had done a whistleblower concern.
okay,
Angela Ford came back early from leave to half days per doctor.
was that, okay, I think I got that. Then can you, keep going here, because I just can't read that, I'm sorry.
Sure. Same environment slash same behaviors as before leave.
Okay, and when you say same environment, same behavior, do you understand those to be positive or negative behaviors?
I was capturing negative,
Okay, and the environment, is that positive or negative?
also negative.
Okay. And again, this is after she files the HR complaint, right?
Correct.
Okay. The next line, I think it starts with a J.
I'm sorry. Joe Andy
Okay,
still has challenges with Saffold despite the move.
okay, are you able to tell us who Joe Andy is?
Joe Andy Williams?
Okay. And did she work at curriculum instruction at some time?
Yes. I believe that's part of that org, yes.
Okay. Do you know if she still works at the district?
I believe she's still employed by the district.
Okay. And then the next line says, I think Lisa Chapman?
Yes.
Okay, and then what else?
Yeah. Lisa Chapman put Saffold as excuse for leaving on exit interview.
Okay, do you know what that means?
When Miss Chapman, who I believe at the time was a textbook coordinator, I apologize if that's wrong, left from the district, Miss Ward shared with me that she indicated on that exit interview, or that exit document, that Saffold was the reason for leaving.
Okay. Have you ever seen that document?
I haven't seen that document.
Okay. Do you have access to that document?
It's not in my purview.
Okay, but I mean, as if you were investigating, you could obtain that document if you wanted to investigate, right?
Likely.
Okay. Is there any documents that you're unable to obtain due to your as your role as investigator?
I'm unfamiliar with any.
Okay. Have you ever tried to obtain records and not received the records that you had attempted to retrieve?
No.
Okay. How about delay? Has there ever been a time when you asked records, particularly of HR, for example, and there was a delay in you getting them?
No, I think they've been prompt.
Great. All right. So then I think we've got Michelle Wade here.
Yes.
What happened there?
Michelle Wade also left due to Saffold.
Okay. Did you have any reason to independently believe the accuracy of that statement?
Yes, I had conversation with Michelle Wade in which she had shared concerns regarding Saffold.
Okay. Did she mention any race concerns regarding Saffold at that time?
I don't recall.
Okay. What were Michelle Wade's concerns regarding Dr. Saffold that you do recall?
Management style, management behaviors. What I recall is Michelle sharing like this closed door policy where she's just not approachable.
Okay. Are there any concerns that Michelle shared with you that were echoed by Angela Ford regarding Dr. Saffold that you captured in these notes here?
Can you say it again?
Sure.
Sorry.
Just looking in these notes,
Okay.
are there any parallels between what Michelle Wade confided in you about her concerns about Dr. Saffold and what you noted here about Angela Ford's concerns about Dr. Saffold?
Check the following questions, broad and vague.
If not on this specific page, in the totality of Miss Ford's concern, yes.
Great. Angela Ford, and I assume that's North Division, but if you can help me out.
Absolutely. Angela Ford went to North Division to avoid Saffold. Angela Ford followed all protocols to get team at North Division.
Okay. So that, can you explain what that means to you?
Yeah, so Miss Ford had moved her and her team to North Division. There's I believe, somewhere in North Division, and that she had followed all the steps that were consistent with moving the team there, and that's what she shared with me here.
Okay. Now we got action items, but that's just part of the same, I mean, that term action item there doesn't indicate
Oh.
anything specific, right?
That's pre-printed on the page.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and also I just want to be clear that this is all this entire page here under this section saying A Ford at 3 p.m. is all one conversation.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so it says, I think Saffold, just please help me there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saffold instructed Angela Ford to return immediately to her office work location.
Okay, and that's in response to Angela Ford trying to go to North Division?
Either trying or having arrived and moved to North Division, yes.
Oh, okay. And then, please keep going.
Yep. No communication to Angela Ford from HR on previous two concerns.
Okay. What steps did you take in response to getting that information to assist Angela Ford navigating the HR process?
Yeah, I believe I followed up with HR to determine what the results were of those previous concerns and what, if any, corrective action had been done and what was the status of any of that corrective action.
Who at HR did you speak with?
I believe it was Therese Freiberg.
Okay. Therese Freiberg is no longer with the district, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And what, if any, response did Therese Freiberg give you at that time?
I don't recall.
Okay. What, if any, feedback did you give to Dr. Ford in response to your conversation with Therese Freiberg, if at all?
I don't recall any.
Okay. So that wouldn't be an example of you helping Dr. Ford to navigate the HR process, correct?
Objection, argumentative.
It would not be a good example.
Okay. Is it a bad example?
Objection, argumentative.
Arguably.
Okay. Next line, please.
Yes. Okay. Reached out to Cross Law Firm for help with Saffold's behavior.
Okay, what does that mean to you?
She had either contacted or retained someone at the Cross Law Firm for help.
Okay. And what, if any, action did you take in response to that information?
I don't believe I took any specific action.
Okay. The next line, please.
Yep. Saffold puts in writing things that are easily refutable.
Okay. And I think my goal here is if we can just get to if you could read out the last four lines.
Yep.
And then maybe we can take a pause.
Angela Ford has requested personnel file from Adria. Saffold told staff under Angela Ford that Saffold should just send them to a school. Saffold doesn't know what to do with them. Staff under Angela Ford have left due to Saffold.
Okay, and just one question for this section here. Who is Adria, if you know?
That is in reference to AJ Manalini, the chief of HR. I'll spell that later.
Great. At this time, would anybody like to take a pause? Or should we keep going? And really, I'm asking you in particular.
I can take a break.
Okay. I know that we didn't want to be here for very long. Is 20 minutes sufficient? Is 30 minutes sufficient?
Oh, I didn't know you meant that kind of break. I'm just going to the ladies' room.
Let's say 15 minutes for everybody.
Sounds fine.
Would that work?
Cool.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we have a time on that, please?
Stand by, we are going off the record. The time is 1:13. This is the end of Media Unit 3.